In this training, how to set up a successful improvement project including examples. Projects work together with a program. Without a good program, projects have little impact. The program provides the structure, the projects deliver the results. The training, where to start, the start of a successful improvement program, complements this training. My name is Ilko Knijvers, founder of Sequove, the art of moving forward.
Different objectives may require different project approaches. In this training, I explain the 4 main project methodologies, their differences, and my recommendation. Next, we look at where to start and the minimum information required for success. We often document extensively, yet with minimal information, we can focus maximally on results while still maintaining control. This not only leads to faster progress, but also to greater ownership and engagement. Through interim validations, we prevent starting projects unnecessarily, projects that may seem successful at first glance, but turn out to be far more complex during execution than expected. Finally, I briefly introduce Sequove and explain where you can find more free training sessions on sequove.com. There are many methodologies for starting projects, each with a focus on delivering successful outcomes. The first, DMAIAC: define, measure, analyze, improve, and control. This approach comes from Six Sigma and is highly data-driven. It focuses on reducing variation and eliminating defects in processes. It relies on clear metrics and structured analysis to drive improvements. PDCA, Plan, Do, Check, Act, is a continuous improvement cycle. It emphasizes iterative learning and experimentation, adjusting the plan whenever results are unsatisfactory. It is ideal for gradual improvement and building organizational knowledge. 8D, the 8 disciplines, is widely used in quality management, particularly for customer complaints or product defects. Its goal is to protect the customer while systematically finding and eliminating the root cause. The 8 steps provide teams with a clear, structured problem-solving path. And A3, often used as a project charter, is named after the paper format. It limits information to a single sheet, forcing focus on the key problem analysis and plan. This approach provides a structured yet concise framework, helping teams solve problems effectively while maintaining control of project progress. It can be applied to almost any project or improvement initiative. For these reasons, this approach is recommended, and I will illustrate it with an exemplified case, showing how the methodology works in practice.
A program combined with project phases and an A3 approach provides project managers strong guidance to make a project successful, and with the right software gives maximum control over progress. The 8 steps of this methodology can be distributed across the different phases of a project, with information thus being added gradually. Sometimes we want to jump straight to a solution. We really need to do this in our organization. But why? Which problem does this solve? And for whom? Exactly, that's where it all begins.
A project can start with relatively limited information. At the beginning, it is often enough to describe the problem, context, and current situation. Example: during registration at the Chamber of Commerce, extensive printed documentation is still provided. Some documents must be signed, while most are just for reference. There are approximately 250,000 registrations per year, each receiving a folder containing around 15 printed pages. And that moves the project to phase B. It can be this simple. Here we link the project to the program objectives. Project managers must clearly understand these objectives. This is key to make sure all projects contribute to the same overarching goal. For instance, program objectives can be achieve an in-year impact of €300,000, sustainability improvement, and increase customer satisfaction to a net promoter score of 75. Reducing printed documentation contributes mainly to cost savings and sustainability, addressing 2 of the 3 objectives. The goal is to cut 80% of printed documentation, printing only for those who truly need it and providing digital alternatives for the rest. Success can be measured by the reduction in printed or purchased paper. Next, we need to consider whether a capital investment, CapEx, is required. In other words, do we need a new machine or new software? In our example, this may be the case. After that, we look at the business case. The idea here is to get a first understanding of how much the project could contribute to the program objectives. This is about comparing effort versus benefit, giving an indication of the value we could gain. We have 250,000 registrations per year, and each registration receives 15 sheets of paper. At a cost of 5 cents per sheet, including paper, toner, and maintenance, the total cost is significant. The project aims to reduce paper use by 80%. When we do the math, the estimated savings come to roughly 150,000 euros per year. So far, we have hardly invested any time in the improvement project. Before moving to the next phase, we need to answer a key question. Is the project worth the effort? For this, validations are essential. The first validation is typically done by controlling or finance, especially if the main objective is cost reduction.
There are 4 main ways to evaluate financial impact. Cost savings. This measures the impact on the profit and loss statement, calculated over 12 months, even if the benefit lasts longer. In-year impact. This focuses on cost savings within the remaining months of the fiscal year. For example, if a project finishes in March and the fiscal year runs from January to December, the impact is counted from April to December, being only 9 months. This answers the question, how much does this project affect this year's budget? Cost avoidance. This refers to future cost saving with no immediate financial impact, and working capital or cash flow improvement. Unlike the other 3, this does not affect the profit and loss statement. Improving working capital increases available cash to pay bills or make investments.
If we look at the idea of reducing printed paper, with a business case of roughly 150,000 euros, the savings can be divided into different categories. Cost savings. These are the direct savings from using less paper and toner, roughly 60,000 euros. If the project takes 6 months, the in-year impact would be roughly half of the cost savings. We can't determine the exact in-year impact at this stage as planning is not yet known. It will, however, always be equal to or lower than 60,000 euros. Cost avoidance. This includes savings from printer depreciation and service contracts that may still be in place. These savings will only materialize in the future and are estimated at around 90,000 euros. Working capital improvement. If hold an inventory of 3 months' worth of paper, while toner is ordered only when needed, the impact on working capital is roughly 4,000 euros, which is negligible for this project. Overall, the direct savings and cost avoidance are significant, making this an interesting project to move forward with. We are now entering the first phase where we start investing real time in the project. Before execution, we need a plan of approach. This step outlines what we plan to do and the estimated time required. Next comes the program validation, important for 2 reasons. The program manager knows the program objectives well and has a good understanding of all different projects. The key questions are, does the project align with program objectives? And what priorities should it have compared to other projects?
Phase D, the pipeline. This step sets project order based on impact versus effort, and it tells project managers what project is next in line. A pipeline is based on estimating impact by completion date, showing how each project contributes to program goals.
The next phase is progression. The project manager is responsible for execution. Milestone end dates are tracked, and some may finish early or late. Minor shifts are fine. The final end or rollout date should be monitored closely throughout the project. Delays reduce in-year impact and can postpone new initiatives, affecting overall program objectives. And the last step is completion, often skipped, but crucial for future projects. It is the base for best practice sharing, the final validation, summarize the project and provide proof of impact, and to add tag words for others to learn and find similar projects. Impact evidence to be verified by finance and the program manager. Real progress doesn't happen by itself. Change only works when it is embraced, guided, and implemented carefully in a sequential manner. It requires a deep understanding of both processes and people, so that change can move forward gradually. That is exactly where Sequove helps. Sequove supports organizations by giving structure and engagement to change. By shaping changes smartly and carefully, results remain visible and sustainably embedded. This brings us to the end of this training. We have covered the different project methodologies, the preference for usage of A3 for any project, where to start, the minimal information required per project phase, why project validations are crucial for the success of a program, and how Sequove supports organizations by focusing on active engagement, structured approaches, and measurable results. Great to have you here. For more information about Sequove and other free trainings, visit sequove.com. The trainings are available in English and Dutch. Feel free to leave a comment on the website. For questions about this or other trainings, you can send an email to training@sequove.com.